All right, Intel is currently sitting at $116.75. In the after hours, it's down 1.86%, but throughout the course of the day, it was up 7.38%. So Intel has an EPS of negative 63 cents. They have a 52-week high of $132.75, a 52-week low of $18.97. Whoa. They have a market cap of $597.89 billion and about 83,000 employees with 5.03 billion shares outstanding. Over the past 5 days, they're up 8.67%. Over the past month, they're up 81.07%. Over the past 6 months, they're up 253.84%. Year to date, they're up 222.38%. On a 1-year chart, they're up 459.29%. 5-year chart, they're up 112.13%. On a maximum chart, this goes back to May 23rd, 1986. Intel is up 22,345.28%. Very interesting. So let's read some of their overview stuff here. We've got Intel surged approximately 114% in April, fueled by a record Q1 earnings beat and high volume. 18A manufacturing status. Recent consolidation followed a preliminary Apple Foundry deal. Analysts project continued volatility next quarter as the market balances Foundry yield progress against significant valuation premiums and persistent server market share erosion to competitors like AMD. Historic Q1 earnings beat. Intel reported Q1 2026 revenue of approximately $13.6 billion and adjusted EPS of 29 cents, significantly outperforming the 0.02 analyst consensus. The data center and AI segment grew 22% year over year, driven by robust demand for Xeon processors and custom AI accelerators. Foundry strategic milestones. The company officially reached high-volume manufacturing for its 2nm class 18A process node, securing high-profile preliminary agreements with Apple and Tesla. CEO Lip Bu Tan reported manufacturing yield improvements hitting 7 to 8% monthly, reinforcing confidence in the company's manufacturing turnaround strategy. Expanded AI ecosystem and integration. Intel Xeon 6 was selected as the host CPU for Nvidia's DJX Rubin systems, and Alphabet expanded its deployment of Intel processors for Google Cloud's AI infrastructure. Analysis highlight a massive potential addressable market in agentic CPU workloads as a long-term growth driver. Despite significant valuation concerns, despite the rally, Intel remains significantly overvalued according to some metrics, trading at over a 300% premium to estimated intrinsic value. The average analyst price target of approximately $81.52 implies substantial downside risk from recent prices near $108. Persistent foundry losses. The foundry division remains a financial drag, reporting on operating loss of roughly $2.3 billion in Q1 2026. While yields are improving, they remain below the 90% benchmark required for optimal profitability, leading to continued negative free cash flow. This is the bearish view here, guys, obviously. Eroding server market share. Intel continues to lose ground in the critical server CPU market, with its share declining to approximately 54.9% in Q1 2026 from 64.4% a year prior. Intense competition from AMD and ARM-based architectures poses a threat to long-term data center dominance. Fascinating. 5-star analyst resets Intel's stock price target. AMD is up 8%, is it outperforming other chip stocks like Intel and Nvidia. Let's try this one. Intel shares up 7.4% today. Here's what happened. This is written by MarketBeat. Intel shares rose 7.4% in midday trading, hitting as high as $121.94 as investor sentiment improved around the stock and semiconductor sector. The rally was supported by optimism about Intel's AI turnaround efforts, including reports of possible acquisition talks with Tencent, upbeat commentary on its latest chips, and CEO Lip-Bu Tan's push to build a new Intel. Analysts are becoming more constructive with several firms raising price targets, though the broader consensus still sits at hold and the average target price remains well below the stock's current level. Intel share price shot up 7.4% during midday trading on Wednesday. The company traded as high as $121.94 and last traded at $118.96, with over 162 million shares traded hands during midday trading, an increase of 34% from the average session volume of 120,172 shares. 700,172 shares. Jesus Christ. The stock had previously closed at $110.80. Here are the key news stories impacting Intel this week. Intel is benefiting from a broader chip rally ahead of Nvidia's earnings, with traders rotating back into semiconductors as AI enthusiasm lifts the group. Reports that Intel may be in early acquisition talks with AI chip startup Tencent are adding to optimism that the company is deepening its AI strategy and expanding its talent and product pipeline. Webb Bush said Intel is pushing PC makers toward its latest chips, which investors read as a sign the company is protecting margins while driving adoption of newer products. Analysts and media commentary has also highlighted Intel's turnaround with higher price targets and upbeat views on its foundry and AI opportunities supporting the stock. Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan said the company is building a new Intel with faster decision-making and flatter management, reinforcing the turnaround narrative but offering no immediate financial update. Samsung's new enterprise laptop using Intel Core Ultra processors adds visibility to Intel's product lineup, though it is more of a commercial validation than a major new revenue driver on its own. A number of brokerages have recently issued reports on Intel bank upgraded shares. On INTC, DZ Bank upgraded shares of Intel from a sell rating to a neutral rating in a research note on Friday, April 24th. Barclays upped their target price on shares of Intel from $45 to $65 and gave the company an equal weight rating in a research note on Friday. Rosenblatt Securities upped their target price on shares from Intel from $30 to $50 and gave the company a sell rating in a research note on Friday, April 24th. Stifel Nicholas upped their target price of $65 to $75 and gave the company a hold rating on Friday, April 24th. Finally, KeyCorp upped their target price on shares of Intel from $70 to $110, gave the company an overweight rating in a research note on Friday, April 24th. One research analyst has rated the stock with a strong buy rating. 11 have assigned a buy rating, 25 have given a hold rating, and 4 have given a sell rating to the company's stock, according to data from MarketBeat.com. The stock has an average rating of hold and a consensus price target of $81.52. That's quite a bit lower than what it is now. The stock has a market cap of $597.89 billion, a price to earnings ratio of negative 191.87, and a beta of 2.18. The firm's 50-day moving average is $70.10, and its 200-day moving average is $51.87. The company has a quick ratio of 1.85, a current ratio of 2.31, and a debt-to-equity ratio of 0.34. Intel last released its quarterly earnings data on Thursday, April 23rd. The chipmaker reported 0.29 cents earnings per share for the quarter, topping the consensus estimate of 1 cent by 28 cents. The firm had revenue of $13.58 billion for the quarter, compared to analyst estimates of $12.32 billion Intel had a negative net margin of 5.9% and a positive return on equity of 0.39%. Intel's quarterly revenue was up 7.4% on a year-over-year basis during the same quarter in the prior year. The business earned 13 cents earnings per share. Intel has set its Q2 26 guidance at 0.200 EPS. Equities analysts anticipate that Intel Corporation will post 63 cents EPS for the current year. Insider buying and selling. In other Intel news, EVP Boys April Miller sold 40,256 shares of the company's stock in a transaction dated Friday, May 1st. The shares were sold at an average price of $99.53 for a total value of $4,006,679.68. Following the completion of the transaction, the executive vice president owned 105,077 shares in the company, valued at approximately $10,458,313.81. This represents a 27.7% decrease in their position. The transaction was disclosed in a document filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, which is available at this link. Company insiders own 0.05% of the company's stock. Institutional inflows and outflows. Institutional investors and hedge funds have recently bought and sold shares of the company. Financial life planners bought a new position in Intel in the first quarter worth about $25,000. Financially Speaking Incorporated grew its position in Intel by 69.2% in the fourth quarter. Financially Speaking Inc. now owns 682 shares of the chipmaker's stock, worth $25,000 after purchasing an additional 279 shares during the last quarter. Legacy Bridge LLC bought a new position in Intel in the fourth quarter worth about $26,000. Raleigh Capital Management bought a new position in shares of Intel in the fourth quarter valued at approximately $29,000. Finally, Swiss Re Ltd. bought a new position in shares of Intel in the fourth quarter valued at approximately $29,000. Institutional investors own 64.53% of the company's stock. Intel Corporation, founded in 1968, Robert Noyce and Gordon E. Moore, and headquartered in Santa Clara, California, is a leading global designer and manufacturer of semiconductor products. The company is historically notable for introducing the first commercial microprocessor and for driving the x86 architecture that underpins many personal computers and servers. Intel's core business spans the design, fabrication, and marketing of processors, chipsets, and related components for a wide range of computing applications. Intel's product portfolio includes client and mobile processors marketed under brands such as Intel Core and Pentium, as well as high-performance Xeon processors for data centers and cloud infrastructure. Alright, that's Intel for you. So what do we think about Intel, guys? What do we think about Intel? What is the relationship between Intel and the U.S. government? Answer in a single paragraph. The relationship between Intel and the U.S. government is a deeply codependent strategic partnership focused on national security, domestic supply chain resilience, and technological sovereignty. Recognizing advanced microchips as critical infrastructure, the federal government has directly intervened to support the company, culminating in a historic agreement where the U.S. government took a $8.9 billion passive equity stake amounting to roughly a 9.9% share in Intel, funded by a combination of CHIPS and Science Act grants and the Department of Defense's Secure Enclave program. The massive public investment secures domestic manufacturing of high-performance and high military-grade semiconductors by mitigating heavy reliance on foreign foundries. The U.S. government acts as both a financial backer and a major client, establishing Intel as the central pillar of America's defense and economic strategy against global supply vulnerabilities. Holy shit. So, yeah, there we go, guys. That's Intel for you. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about Intel? Think it's a buy, a sell, or a hold? Let me know. Like and subscribe, guys. It's your cousin Dustin. Thanks.